5 or 6 out of 10 child has gone through cyberbullying once in a lifetime.
Is anything private today?
You cannot trust internet.
My child's pictures have been shared online. My child's pictures have been morphed. I don't know if my child's digital footprint is being accessed. I'm sure as parents, we have so many of these questions, but don't know where to look for answers, or we don't even know what are our rights. We've never been spoken to about cybersecurity, cyberbullying, and how can we really protect our children from being safe online? Or if something goes south, what do we do next? What are the tools available? What is the government doing? And as always, on the Kids Stop Press podcast, our attempt and endeavor is to bring in an expert to share the right information so you can take and make more informed choices. Welcome, Khushbu, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, give us a little background to why you decided to be in this space. Why this whole cyber space? And what are the different parts of it that you look into?
Okay, so I'll be very, very straightforward with you. I did not decide to be in this space. It just happened. And I think for all of us, when we talk about cyber, it literally evolved in front of us and
Yes.
still evolving.
Yes.
So, dealing with corporate clients, dealing with matters, came the aspect of privacy, came the aspect of corporates with cyber issues, cyber crimes like business email compromises. And with that also started coming little bit complaints because whatever was happening in the physical world when it comes to crime started happening in the online space, like stalking, like defamation, like stealing. You think of a physical world crime and it has taken a space in the digital form. And with that started coming in. And when you talk about financial crimes, yes, you can fight. It does need to have a lot. But when you talk about crime against human, child, when you talk about women, when you talk about all these things, it hurts a lot. And there's much more deeper impact in a negative way, which stays forever. For whole of the life of it is where I think it started that a bit one also has to give it back to the society. And that's where you can do a little bit interfering or understanding how this space is evolving and what one can be part of it. And that's where I involve myself in teeny tiny portion of my involvement when it comes to child safety and understanding the laws and imparting that part of it.
So that's how your journey into this space began. And tell me, how is it evolving? Maybe like 10 years ago to where is it now? And what do you see as majority of the cases?
See, start with 10 years before, we don't had kids who were studying online.
Yeah.
Today, each and every kid is learning online. The traditional mode of learning has been shifted to a hybrid or completely digital mode of learning. With that, 10 years before, the kids used to play in the parks. They still should play in the parks, but now they play more on the digital platform. We watch movies online. There is less when it comes to. So we see entire transformation has happened of doing everything via technology or utilizing internet. That's where criminals also understand, and a lot is happening when it comes to criminal side of it when you talk about cyberspace, right? From grooming to think of a crime and that's happening, bullying, which the word says cyberbullying, which is such a small, but you won't believe 5 or 6 out of 10 child has gone through bullying, cyberbullying once in a lifetime. Wow. The numbers are so high. I'm talking about 5 or 6 out of 10 students go through that cyberbullying. And it has been said that almost 80% of the people in their lifelong has gone through some form of cyberbullying. It can be at any age, but a child bullying, the kind of impact. So in a nutshell, if you'll see the crimes happening on internet today and how it has evolved is unimaginable. We are today sitting in the age of AI. We all are very happy with AI coming in and the kind of transformation. But imagine the kind of crimes that AI brings in and how much we have to do when it comes to detection of those crimes, understanding, deciphering it, what is right, what is wrong, what is truth, what is actually real and doctored video or a picture. And I think the world is at a different stage today.
Right. Tell me, अगर आपको किसी को simple language में समझाना है, what is cyberbullying?
सिंपल लैंग्वेज में साइबर बुलिंग समझाना है तो साइबर बुलिंग की कोई डेफिनेशन लॉ में नहीं है अभी, बट कॉम्बिनेशंस के अगर मैं चीज़ें बताऊं तो बहुत सारे तरीके से बुलिंग हो सकती है। कोई भी अगर आपको आपकी मर्ज़ी के बिना कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, आपके बारे में लिख रहा है, आपसे कुछ बोल रहा है, वो बुलिंग हुआ। कोई आपकी कोई पिक्चर्स वहाँ पे डालकर आपके बारे में कुछ कुछ लिख रहा है, आपके बारे में पिक्चर को मॉफ करके डाल रहा है, तो वो बुलिंग के साथ में और भी क्राइम्स हो गए, पर वो भी बुलिंग होगा। बुलिंग का और एक और तरीका होता है कि बिना किसी इनअप्रोप्रिएट पिक्चर्स के साथ में भी बुलिंग होती है। बुलिंग का मतलब ये नहीं होता कि कोई इनअप्रोप्रिएट पिक्चर्स आपकी डाली है तो वो बुलिंग हुई है। आपकी प्राइवेट चैट शायद आपके और मेरे बीच में हुई है, और आज आप की और मेरी लड़ाई के बाद में आप वो चीज़ें डालो और बोलो मैं इस चीज़ को साइबर वर्ल्ड में ऑनलाइन वायरल कर दूंगा, तो इट कैन बी अ फॉर्म ऑफ बुलिंग। बुलिंग में बहुत सारा तरीका होता है कि कुछ बुलिंग में उन्हें कुछ रिटर्न में नहीं चाहिए होता, उन्हें सिर्फ परेशान करना होता है आपको। कुछ बुलिंग टर्न होती है कि वो ब्लैकमेल में टर्न होने लगती है, कि इट गोज़ टू अ लेवल कि उनको फिर कुछ आपसे
चाहिए।
बेनिफिट्स चाहिए, वो किसी भी फॉर्म में हो सकते हैं। तो वहाँ पे वो उस तरीके से चला जाता है। तो अगर आप देखेंगे तो कॉम्बिनेशंस में बुलिंग के बहुत सारे फॉर्म्स हैं जो आर अवेलेबल एंड कैन फिट इन।
Right.
बट आई थिंक हम नए लॉज को लाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, और उन नए लॉज में जो साइबर को लेकर जो नए लॉज है जो पेंडिंग है आना, उनमें आई थिंक द डेफिनेशंस विल बी मच मोर क्लियरर।
It's very interesting that you say that when you said that 5 or 6 out of 10 kids are bullied online. Tell me what kind of bullying is done. One you mentioned is obviously pictures, one is chat. Could it be nasty comments? Is that a form of bullying?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the bullying cannot be what you define as bullying or what you are intending to do. But when it's happening with me and if I am bullied, is something which is bullying.
Because bullying का अगर कोई definition नहीं है, then as a child I don't even know that I'm doing something wrong.
Absolutely. That's a very good point that you picked it up. That so many of child are not aware when they do something that that's borderline criminal or that's criminal per se.
Right.
They are absolutely not aware that the things that they are doing are in a way illegal or a criminal act that they're doing it. That's where I think lack of awareness
Yes.
is playing a very important role, and we need to, I think, bring in that awareness, because lot is happening without knowing. A child committing a crime without knowing that he's committing a crime is a situation that we are in today. So I think that's a lack of awareness and knowledge among children, among parents, among teachers, and among all of us as a society,
Right.
to make people aware what is right, what is wrong, what is legal, what is illegal.
Right. Also, I think, Khushbu, when you speak of awareness, and I've been re-emphasizing and emphasizing on Kids Top Press that please do not share things about at least your children, whether it's their faces or it is about their personal details like which school, which class, which grade, which area. Like I know people even tagging, oh, I stay in this building, right? And location they'll put as this XYZ location, Kolaba, or XYZ Bombay, whatever. Like, or even being in that place and tagging that location, right? So I think when you're speaking of awareness, I think people are not even aware of that level of threat that it could technically pose to them.
Maybe I'll take it in a way that how crimes happen smoothly.
Yeah.
Crimes happen because despite listening 20 podcasts, despite reading maybe 10 books, the moment a criminal has a knowledge about you, has an information about you, it's very easy for him to make you believe or trust him. I'll give you one very small example. I'm taking a liberty of going little at a stretch.
Please do.
Let's say you're aware about everything. Now, today I give you a call and I say that, hey, your daughter is with us. And if you don't give this much X amount of money, then be prepared for XYZ. And you have to pay within this limited, maybe 15 minutes of a time period. And you'll be like, how? It's like your daughter coming from the school. Now she's with us from the school. So they know that this school of your daughter. Then you're like, shit. Then they say, don't even try to move. And the flower picture in front of you with the red sofa that you're sitting on. We are absolutely watching, so don't even imagine of calling a local police. Are you scared?
Yeah.
But then you're aware that there are criminals who do these kind of things, and they make up stories, and it might actually not be true.
And you might be actually feeding into those stories because you've shared that, okay, this is my picture for the day, this is where I am, and they know that you
this
are
is
in
my
this.
child. This is the school first uniform. 3:30 you're picking up your child.
Yeah.
And 3:30 it's in the bus, and they say that the bus. So they know the timing. Now let's say the second information is you must be playing game, or your child must be playing the game, where you have put up. Going to the next level, you have to click a picture of the wall where you're sitting. Then you have to share other information, that click a picture of any of the photo frame in your house to go to the next level. It's nothing, right? No money going. The child will just click the picture, or you will just click the picture and go to the next level of the game. Now, just basic information which has no knowledge. Even if I tell you I've done this, you'll be like, yeah, whatever. But imagine compiling that entire information has so much information for that criminal to create. All I'm saying is more information with a criminal, easy for him to make you believe him and then fall prey for you, that part of it.
I'm already scared.
No, don't be scared. All you have to do is be a little aware. See, we do
Yes.
it while driving. I spoke to you that
Yeah.
last time also, that when you drive, you learn the rules, rules and regulations, whether right side, left side, what are the things, when to stop, what do you mean by roundabout. When you're on internet, learn a little things.
Absolutely. Like you said, that when we're driving, we learn about driving and we take the driving test. When we are handing over our kids digital devices, whether it's a phone, laptop, iPad, computer, there's no digital literacy program that they're actually going through. So this makes so much sense to me. Tell me, with most of us having social media accounts, especially our children, how do we make sure that they are safe? Like, if you had to create a cyber curriculum for children, what would that say?
See, first and foremost, a thumb rule. Anything which you share, you feel cannot be shared in public, or might create a problem for you, or your family, or your career, or whatever for that matter. Do not share. You cannot trust internet. You cannot say that it's an end-to-end encryption, and I've shared personally with my friend, and I trust my friend so much, or near and dear ones, or whosoever you are with. One, you cannot trust the internet. Second, you cannot trust the platform that you are utilizing it. Third, you cannot trust the person with whom you have shared. So any information that goes on internet is the information which should not create a problem, or you're scared that information becomes public, might have some sort of issues if it becomes a public. Number one rule, thumb rule. Because we are just not talking about, when I say trust, systems can be hacked, these platforms' data can be breached, that information goes out, they utilize it for purposes. The person you have shared it might feel tomorrow might not be your best friend, or whatever it is, the equation changes, might share it with somebody else. That friend of yours might have another best friend where the picture is shared, or that information is shared, becomes a problem. I'm just talking about be very, 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 very selective when you're sharing the picture, and be very calculative when you're doing that. We are living in the age of FOMO and infodemic, that we want to share as much as possible. We want to look amazing when it comes to the world of internet or social media. I think we need to understand that part, that how this works and this happens, because whatever goes on internet is not yours. You don't have control over that data which you put it on internet. Thumb rule number one. Number two, let's say something has happened. Any of the platforms that you utilize it, be aware what are exactly the norms when it comes to putting a complaint. Be aware about those things. Number three, be aware about basic rights. When it comes to pictures, you have an ownership to your pictures. You can file a complaint. When it comes to any other thing, there is an aspect of copyright, there is an aspect of other IP rights which you have it, personality rights. Then after that, if somebody has morphed your picture, or if there is a private picture of yours which is shared, be aware about basic laws, that none of the private pictures can be shared on internet. It can be child, it can be anybody else, but there are specific stringent laws which are there, which are punishable offense. So just because you have shared a picture with your near and dear ones doesn't mean he or she has a right to share that picture. Or let's say two people have clicked the picture together. Now the other person is sharing that picture because that was clicked together with the consent. That's not the consent.
Okay, amazing.
So don't be scared. Now, when these things happen, first and foremost, please go and complain on those platforms to take that down. There are appropriate measures which are there, very clearly been defined. Utilize them, take it down. Number two, cybercrime.gov.in. I'll repeat, cybercrime.gov.in. Why I'm saying that? This platform can be utilized for you to file a complaint anonymously or knowingly, being known. And you can complain and it actually works smoothly. So any kind of complaints that come over, go to cybercrime.gov.in, register the complaint. Whether you want to be anonymous, you have that option to be. If it is by a friend also, like for example, you see that a friend of yours is having this issue and not being able to take a call, you can file on behalf of a friend.
Interesting.
So do that. And number four, I think it is for both parents and kids. You need to be together in this because it's a fight against the criminal, not a fight against between you two. So I think both of you have to come together, and then the society has to come together where all of us together fight against this criminal. We need to stop victimizing the victim and stop being scared. So the complaint part, when I say don't be scared of the police, start complaining. There are effective measures to do that. At least start acting. Don't be scared. And I think these are the things everybody has to keep in mind.
Interesting that you say that. And that brings me to my next question, which is taking a leaf from what you said, which is, if I have clicked a picture with somebody, they cannot share that without my consent. That's one. If I have shared something with you, say on WhatsApp or a social media platform, that still does not give you the right to release that on my behalf. Did I get that right?
Absolutely. If it's a private picture, if it's a picture which can be called indecent, if it has a little bit of showing of any kind of body parts which have been defined in the IT Act, cannot be shared by anybody. But otherwise also cannot be shared without your consent, just because it is there. Only when it comes to pictures which are clicked at public places, because public places pictures are public places pictures. But again, if they are inappropriate or they are very private, you can have an objection to that and one cannot share it. So be a little bit selective if you are sharing the picture of somebody, and be a little bit proactive if somebody has shared. You can absolutely request. But I again say that this is for a world where it's you and me. But there is a world in you and me, there are criminals. So do not share things. Because there are criminals who are waiting for this. There are people who are your friends, online friends, so-called close online friends. They become your online friends. They know how to navigate. There are AI bots. Which actually works very amazingly, where grooming can happen, where any sort of things can happen, and they can be your best friends. And how swiftly they turn into an aspect that it turns into a situation where it becomes a blackmail, and a situation which is, I don't want to go to that detail.
Did you see that movie Control?
Not yet. I have heard, and it's in my list.
How I would have loved to ask, how true is that?
Take control of my life.
You can actually ask me the question and I can tell you how true, but I have not seen the movie.
But it is really where she shares a lot of information with that AI chatbot, and that is being used, whether it was passwords, sharing passwords of her inbox, sharing passwords of the drive, and how the bot actually goes against her to say, but you shared this sort of information with me, so now how is it private?
It's a little futuristic, but it's not away. Okay. The future is not yet away. But yes, one can always hack the chatbot and utilize that information in a manner they want to utilize it. Or give instructions to the chatbot, but that's yet not, because we have not yet to come to a level where we use the chatbot, AI personalized chatbot who does everything for us, right? From booking our tickets to doing this, to doing that, a personalized PA, if I have to put it across. So that has yet not come up in a manner that how it should, but I think that future is very near. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, again, circling back to your previous question, which is when I am sharing any image on my social media pages or as a display picture somewhere, can that be used without consent?
See, again, it's not that a straight answer, because whenever you share anything which is a public, any public information or a picture is a public information, anybody has a right to utilize that. Anything which is private, is something which is private, which somebody doesn't have a right.
Right.
But if I have to scare a little more, go to any of the social media platforms,
Yeah.
including Google, and just read their terms and conditions and privacy policy. They have right to everything which you share on their platform. They have an ownership to that, or a joint ownership. You have to put it across. Though whether it can be implemented or it can be challenged. Yes, it can be, but in a manner, if you look, you all have contractual liability with any of the AI tools that you have used. You know that face app which we used.
Yeah.
Those apps which create some amazing videos or doctor your pictures or
Yeah.
start making use it anywhere, whatever
Yeah.
you use it. Just read simple plain terms and conditions or privacy policy. Then you will not ask me this
Tell me,
question.
is anything private today?
No, anything which you, as I started with, whatever you put on the world of internet, it
Is in the public
is in
domain.
public domain.
Interesting. Also, a very, I see a lot of schools and educational institutions sharing pictures of their students online on their social media pages or on their websites, etc. Are schools and educational institutions compelled to take consent?
Yes, if I have to see right to privacy, that's your fundamental right after 2017. And then I see the other aspect when it comes to DPDP Act, which came into existence in the year 2023. Now, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, the DPDP Act, specifically talks about that any information of mine which you are utilizing it for whatever purpose, you need to take a consent from me. Without that consent, you cannot use that information. Now, and when it comes to children data, they have been very specific on children data, that children data or their behavioral analysis or any kind of content that can be shared with children, all these things cannot be done. And there are some levels which can be done, but a parent consent has to be a parent or a legal guardian.
Right.
Consent has to be mandatory. In case they don't have it, there is a penalty which is up to 150 crore on the act. Up to 150 crore when it comes to this. But there are certain things which absolutely cannot be done. But when it comes to these kind of information, yes, there are laws in place. I'm still waiting for DPDP Act rules to come up. The act has already been come up. The rules to come up. Once the rules come up and the penalties start imposing, I think there would be much more sanity in the world of sharing
Right.
and using the pictures the way people are using it.
Right. So does that also mean that that's the reason why the APAAR ID needs the parent Aadhaar card details as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because without that, they can't use anything. They need permission now from the parent. But see, I go a little beyond this because that's what a little bit what law can bring in. But when we talk about this, we need to stop sharing our children's images, even when you have a right to give a consent on your child's behalf, because a child turning 18 after that might not relate and might find that as a bullying.
I agree.
So there should be a law which a provision which CCPA, the Californian law, also had a provision for, which can be, if it can be, would be the best thing that after attaining the age of 18, I as a person should be given a right that I can exercise my right to be forgotten. So whatever is there before 18, whether consented by my parent, I should have a right whether it should be there or it shouldn't be there. And it should be completely erased from all other places on the internet. Not just one,
Is
but
that even
wherever.
possible, Khushbu?
It is possible. It is happening in different states. It is possible. Nothing is not possible.
No, I'm saying retracting the images
See,
back
I'll-
because
not
kahan pe
retracting
would-
it, deleting it completely.
Deleting.
But that's there today also. The DPDP Act is also talking about you have right to erasure, which says that today I have asked you that yes, take my information, utilize my information. Tomorrow I say that no, I want to erase. I have a right to erasure in the act.
Got it.
Not giving me that is up to 50 crore of a penalty. And it's not India. GDPR, European Union, they are doing it. All these platforms are abiding it.
Right.
Whether they actually do it or don't do it is a secondary thing.
Got it.
And when they don't do it, and if it is found, it's a 50 crore of a penalty here. And in European Union, it's a 2 to 4% of a penalty of their global turnover. 4% of the global turnover of that company will be the penalty that can be imposed up to. So it's not possible. because when it comes to technology, they are absolutely aware about, there are data discovery, data mapping tools which are there, where they absolutely know at where all places your data is going. If you today also go and exercise it, European Union mein you have right to access, where they give you right to access the data, where you can request what all data of mine is there with you. So they're absolutely, it's not that they're not aware, it's just they need to bring in that uh, system in place, so that uh, uh, today I still continue to have right over my own data.
Tell me also, we spoke of this, there's been a lot of news on the Australian government banning social media usage for kids under 16. Tell me, how does a government regulate this, implement this, and how can companies execute this?
Okay. US has been Australia has been the first one to bring it in the world, and all countries are thinking about that, because you're talking about securing your future. That's your children. How is it possible? Why it is done? And what exactly it is?
Yeah.
What exactly it is? They are saying that social media platforms or certain other platforms are being utilized, are utilized by criminals, are utilized by some anti-national actors, are utilized by some groups, which in a way will have an impact on children, which is not good, or which converts into a crime, a cyber crime. It can be grooming, bullying, or so on and so forth. And it can have an impact which makes sure that the children are not skilled, but they get into the world which is dumbing them down or more. I'm being very candid with you on that part. So that impact is something which is creating a problem in children next. And that's where they said that certain social media platforms, not all of them, certain social media platforms will be absolutely banned, because to look into what is right, what is wrong, whether this is good for child, not good for child, they are saying that certain platforms, after understanding, should be completely banned. After that, there are certain platforms which will continue. And then there is another aspect where they're saying that there should be a consent part of it. Consent as in age appropriateness of what content. A content for a 5-year-old kid will be very different than a content for a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And might be different. So not entire child can be one category. So how it can be implemented, they have still to come up with that. That how it would be possible, because it's very easy for a child to practically create a platform,
Yeah.
a
Fake account.
fake account, and they're doing so.
Yeah.
We have 6, 7 years, 9 years old kids also on platforms using Instagrams and so and other things. There are hefty penalties on platforms. Now, platforms should understand that the child is there or not there, and should have strong KYC. With that KYC, they should make sure that a child is not there on those
Are
platforms.
we risking our privacy by asking platforms to do KYC? Are we palming the complete burden on to them?
But then, where else? One was that you put. I understand where you're coming, but I'm saying, first and foremost, it would be parents who should do this.
Right.
But for parent to understand what's going on social media platforms or other internet platforms which are there, or those games, it's it's slightly difficult for them to catch up with that part. A platform or those places, like for example TikTok, they are very well aware about what kind of data and what kind of information they are feeding to children. They understand that.
Yeah.
There are proper algorithmic manipulations that happen, and there are absolutely clear understanding for them to have what's happening, what's not happening. So why not put the burden on them, because it's their earning model, they're earning out of it. Make sure that don't commit. I'll give you one example. I say, no, physical world and real world is
Yeah.
absolutely identical. Any of the bar where liquor is served, the liability, they say 21 below cannot come. The liability was on those bars, not on the other place. If a child is found who is below 21, there are strict penalties.
Right.
So it is practically on them to check whether you are 21 above or not, to give you the entry.
Right. Right. Interesting. Okay. Coming on to how our kids need to be in the digital space, and we all understand that, and we keep telling all the parents on Kids Talk Plus that please ensure that you're aware and you make your kids aware of the digital footprint that they're leaving behind. And you spoke of friends who are friends today, friends not tomorrow. Now, in this world of AI and deepfake, how can one ensure that, and what are their rights? Again, I come back to rights, and therefore what they should do next, right? What is the action plan of the family if something has been compromised or morphed or shared in in the cyber world?
Okay. I'll give you direct answer to the
Yeah.
question that you're asking me. That if something has happened, number one, cybercrime.gov.in, 1930 is another number, which is Government of India's number. Nearest police station, you can file a complaint. If it's a very sensitive issue, it can be done online, and they can come home and take a signature. Yes, in certain issues, not all of them, that there is a possibility, but there are certain criteria which are mentioned in the new criminal laws, which gives you that provision. There are fast track courts to deal with issues with related to child. Those fast track courts are very dedicatedly made. In 2025, if you leave, there is a notification. So those fast track courts will make sure that there's a speedy justice system when it comes to child. First and foremost, as a house, as a family, as a parent, you have to be aware about what are your rights, what are your child's rights. Because what happens when something goes wrong, you criticizing the
Yeah.
child without understanding that what are exactly the norms. Just by me sharing the picture with somebody else doesn't give them the right to do something. Just by I am there on some platform and somebody has created another profile of mine, morphing the picture, doing something, doesn't mean I am the one doing the crime by being on that platform. And first and foremost, that comes from the family is stop being on that platform. It's your mistake that you were there on that platform. So we need to stop victimizing the victim. That means you need to understand what are your rights. Ideally, somebody who has created another profile, morph the picture, used tools like AI tools to create any deepfake videos or pictures. These are all punishable offenses, and they have no right to do so. So
Right.
instead of criticizing your child, you need to make sure that you
That you
file.
report.
Now, I'm not saying that do not teach your child. Yes, that should have been done much before. And I say this every time. And I said this to you. We had
Yeah.
also had a discussion in Delhi about that you cannot be away from the child. You cannot say that these games are for the children, these platforms are for the children, gone are those days. You need to be as friendly as possible with your child. And when I'm saying as friendly as possible, please spend some time in playing games with them, in understanding which all platforms, Discord, Instagram, Reels, what exactly are they sharing? What kind of pictures are they sharing among their own personal groups? I understand right to privacy, but when it comes to your child safety, I think you need to be a little more friendly and be more involved in understanding. Why I'm saying that you need to play game, not know that which game they're playing, because when you play games, there have been fourth level. That fourth level, the game is going very smooth. Fourth level is there. They ask you that go to next. You have to strip this lady, and it psychologically impacts the child.
Right.
It's absolutely offensive,
Yeah.
but it might not be aware about. I mean, nobody is aware about that happens.
Yeah.
So play with them to understand, because then you would know what's right and wrong for your child over there.
Right.
How much to share. Abusive languages utilize on these any of these gaming platforms or any other places. To know all these things, you have to be with them. You have to involve yourself. Put every day some time, or put at least a week mein 1 hour, 2 hour with your child to be doing all these things which they do, rather than just asking them what you're doing.
Got it.
And then make sure that they are safe from all these things.
Right. Also, another question that comes to mind, Khushbu, is today our kids are global citizens, right? So, one is what, so how does it work in the sense of Indian laws versus international laws in case of cyber safety? Is that even a space?
Okay. There are treaties which have been there, where all countries who are signatory to it would seamlessly share information and do things when it comes to police. But then there is another thing which is coming up by United Nations, where they are making sure that there is a seamless information sharing and dedicated wing in each country, which are together in one sync to fight globally with cyber criminals. Apart from that, when you talk about global citizen, our children being global citizen, we have state police. Laws work mysteriously, but then complaint can be filed, actions can be taken. Any laws which are there in India are applicable on Indian citizen. This, even if the crime has happened from anywhere outside. So let's say you're sitting in Africa, and you have done something which is a criminal act.
Right.
and that has happened to an Indian child,
Yeah.
it's a criminal offense and it's an extraterritorial jurisdiction that would apply.
Right.
Provided same manner that if you do a murder of somebody or if you say something, it might not be defamatory there, but it's defamatory here. It would be tried as a defamation. But then I understand that it's very difficult when it comes to implementation, because for small things you don't expect your local police to go to Africa or any other state
Yeah.
and pick up that person and bring it. And I think that's where there is a need of a uh, global laws when it comes to cyber, and
Right.
global policing when it comes to cyber.
Right. In case of children, where images or nude images, etc., have been shared, I know that people believe that report करने से कुछ नहीं होगा, right? And we've seen cases of children actually thinking it's easier to take their lives versus report. One is when they report, are these erasable images when they've gone down to so many phones and so many accounts, etc., and the damage has already been done? One, is it erasable completely? And second is, what are the kind of punishments that are levied, and how soon can one get justice?
Okay. Yes. These are punishable crimes. There are laws in place for all these things. Punishments are also hefty punishments where there are sentences to these kind of crimes that are happening. Whether those pictures can be taken down, yes, it can be taken down. Only when problem comes is when you share pictures via direct messaging platforms, which is a private group. Like, for example, I share the picture with you on Discord or a WhatsApp. Now it is lying in your phone, and then you share with 40 more people. It is
Yeah.
lying in your phone. That cannot be. But if it's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or any other platform or any other URL, website on internet, it can be deleted. Absolutely, it can be deleted at all the places.
Right.
All you have to do is, I'm again saying, please, please, please file a complaint. Do not be scared of filing a complaint just because of the stigma, just because we are scared to file a complaint, just because society victimizes the victim and we are scared, the victims are scared to go to the police, the criminals are becoming that this is a safe space to commit a crime because I'll be scot free.
Right.
Number one, you will not complain. Number two, when you complain, it will create a problem because laws to catch up, then implementation, then judiciary. Yes. But I think all of that is now catching up. We have got new laws in place. There has been a lot of changes in your IPC. It has become BNS. All the three, Indian Evidence Act, IPC, they have been transformed and bring in a lot of technology-enabled solutions
Right.
when it comes to right from filing an FIR to recording a statement to a matter to be done to fast-track courts, as I was talking
Yeah.
about. And when it comes to matters like this, there have been special sections which are dealing in the police stations with cyber crimes, and especially these. I think there is more when it comes to child related issues because they have to be dealt differently than any other issues that are
Right.
coming up. And I think that's where even I4C is looking into bringing in more cyber commandos in all spaces. I4C is a wing of Home Ministry, Ministry of Home Affairs. And I think after that is where we are seeing in. But in a nutshell, please file a complaint. Yes, it can be taken down if it's not privately staying in somebody's phone. Uh, Whether they are caught, yes, they are caught. Only in some cases that they go scot-free, but no, majority of them can be caught. Plus, even if they are not caught in that specific time period, at least some justice when it comes to taking down the content is done. When it comes to repeated offences, government is also utilizing, creating a lot of inventory to understand that, okay, these are the hotspots from where they are coming in.
Right.
These are much larger than what we feel because they don't do it for one or two.
Yeah.
These criminals are literally working with thousands and thousands of children attacking. It's literally like a business that they sit and do. And as much as succession happens over there. So without complaining, you practically
Yeah.
cannot do anything.
Right. Also, a question that sort of comes to mind as a parent is when my child is not part of a crime or an act in case of, say, cyberbullying, but has had a discussion. And let me bring to light the recent Kochi suicide case which happened, right? Where a 15-year-old decided after being bullied that it was easier to take his life than to confront his parents or his colleagues or whatever. And there was a lot of discussion that happened amongst the other children, which was then accessed. So again, if my child is not the bully, then how much privacy is he granted, or are all his chats, and if he's even spoken about that incident in any of his chats, can that be held against him? And if the child is the bully, then what is my act to privacy, or how much access does the government have in both cases?
Okay, first of all, government doesn't have access. It's the police that would have an access. We have to understand that they just don't take away your privacy. There's a due process that has to be followed even by the police.
Right.
It cannot be they just pick up all your phones and they read chats and utilize that information the way they want to. No. But when you talk about that, even if there is a child who is not exactly the bully, but some chat groups where that information is there and he's part of that group,
Yeah.
those informations are required. Because if we don't get those evidences, practically it's impossible sometimes to even reach the main culprit, the bullier, bully guy, or even if after that, even if you catch hold, you need evidences in place, right? For the matter to go ahead. That's where I think it's absolutely fine when it comes to investigation, whatever investigation, following the due process, the law enforcement agencies have rights to ask for information. Again, physical world, if something happens, they
Yeah.
come with a warrant at your house that
Yeah.
there appears to be something found in, kept in that premises. We need to search those premises. It's the same way. But
Right.
whether they can go beyond that, no, they cannot go beyond that. That's where your privacy question comes is that if they're reading and they need information related to that specific aspect, which is some chat group or some chats which have happened in a group or in a silo, they can use that. Any other information which is there on the phone, which is not related to the case in hand, they cannot use that information. And they
Right.
cannot invade into your privacy. And that would be infringement of your privacy.
Got it. Last question would be, what are we to expect in this space, which seems dark, scary, but we can't resist being there? What can we expect, and what should we warn our kids about?
I think this is the space which cannot be
Predicted?
Yeah, cannot be predicted. But at the same time, this is the space cannot be shut also. We cannot
Yeah.
be away from internet. We cannot be away from technology which is coming in. First and foremost, as I say, be aware about your rights. Be aware about when you're navigating a space which is an internet, understand the nuances, understand what can go wrong over there. Once you are aware about it, then you navigate that space because then you're aware about it. And be very handy as to if something goes wrong, this is the place, this is what has to be done.
Right.
So do's and don'ts, understanding your rights are something which are very important. Near future, I think when you say that it's easy to commit a crime, commit a suicide, if some information of yours which is out, we are literally today in the age of AI, where understanding what is real and what is not real will be impossible. So I think today we have to go beyond and make sure that little bit more aware about, like for example, if I share a picture with you of your child and show, you need to first and foremost as a parent understand whether it can be a doctored picture. Why I'm saying that? Because tomorrow a lot of people will be victim of pictures or videos that would be created by AI.
Right.
So understand the way technology is going, because without understanding technology, you'll be shocked. You'll be with the surprises every day, and you might feel uncomfortable, feel that I am being shamed. And best course is to shut down myself, to be completely inside, four walls, or commit a suicide. So I think that's where we need to understand internet, what beauty it brings in, what dangers it brings in, what are my options if there is a danger, and after that, what all new things technology can do, so that you are aware that this can be done by technology and these are my options.
Right. And one last question. I know I said the previous one was the last one, but this is the obvious next. And again, you spoke about this in Delhi. What is the government doing
lovely.
that you would love to talk about in the space of cybersecurity?
Government is doing a lot with IT rules in 2021 to DPDP Act. IT rules talk about taking the content down within 3 hours, 6 hours, 24 hours of a time period with the sensitivity and the kind of content it is. Making sure that social media platform shares the information with the law enforcement agencies. You as an individual have a right to complain on these platforms, giving you DPDP, giving you an ownership to your own data, right to erasure, right to access when it comes to your data, rather than being handicapped. Uh, uh, I think government is doing a lot when it comes to bringing in these laws, doing a lot when it comes to making changes in the laws when it comes to cyber crime, making sure a lot is done when it comes to investigation and policing. With that, I am hoping more can be done when it comes to AI related crimes that are coming in, and making sure that these laws which come in are being implemented strictly. I'll give one small example for you to close today's talk. That would be UK is trying to bring in a law which says that any AI platform which is creating a CSAM material, child sexually abusive content, any tool which is making it, I'm giving a tool, you put your picture or you put somebody else's picture and create a picture or a video. That's a child image which is now created into content which is a pornographic content. That tool should be punished because
Yeah.
they are aiding it to. Any platform where those tools are available, like Google Play Store or App Store, should also be punished because they are also aiding to it.
Right.
And after that, obviously, who's creating it should be punished. So I think those kind of things have to come in, because tomorrow is the world where tools, technologies are the one who are driving all these things, and the answer should be tools and technologies only when it comes to fighting against these tools and technologies.
Amazing. What are the dangers of sharing my child's image online today?
You should refrain yourself from doing so. Why? Because the pictures can be utilized. It can be utilized for in the AI. One can use picture and create any other picture. It can morph. It can absolutely be look-alike. Plus, those pictures which you put it online become public images, and those pictures cannot be taken back in a way, which creates a problem because your child might not relate with those pictures tomorrow. So it's absolutely be very restrictive when it comes to sharing a picture of your child. I'm not saying that you should not be there on internet, your child shouldn't be there on the internet, but restrain yourself from sharing those pictures. Apart from that, pictures, videos, if you put across, if there is a voice, all one needs is 8 seconds of voice of your child, and they can create absolutely 90% similar voice of your child. And tomorrow, let's say some ransom call comes and where your child is saying something and you're like, oh, this is my child. So a lot can be done when it comes to information, when it comes to any of the pictures which are there. Less you share, more secure for you and your children.
Right.
Plus, there are child sexually abusive content that can be made by deepfake. One picture of your child, one can convert those pictures. So there are technologies which can use the voice, which can use the picture to create a look-alike voice, exact voice to an extent, a video or a sexually abusive content material, which can be picture or a video, and that can be out. And even after knowing that whether it is right or wrong, whether it is real or not real, if those pictures and videos are shared, so much damage can be done to you and to your child, and the kind of psychological impact that child will go through. So best is to refrain yourself from sharing all those pictures, and even if you're sharing, be little aware about privacy settings. What are the options available on those platforms where you're sharing?
Right.
What can be how much it can be restrictive and cannot be restrictive? And I think that's a must for a child, for a parent to remember. Again, I understand we are living in that age where we have influencers and we have child influencers coming in, and it's becoming an industry where they earn maybe a lakh per pictures or videos or posts they put it across. I think we need to stop with that as well. As a parent, you need to think more about your child's safety, security, and the future, rather than thinking of a very immediate gain which you're getting out of it.
Thank you so much. There have been moments in this conversation where I've had goosebumps, where I have got really scared, where I've got, I've reflected a lot, and of course, so many, questions that still brim, but that calls for a second podcast with Khushbu.
Absolutely.
But this has been so empowering and informative, and I'm so glad that we did this chat today, and I'm just so glad that you're working so hard in this space. to empower more and more people to come up and share and to report. I think which is something that many people didn't even know. I mean, before your chat, I didn't even know there was something called. I didn't
cybercrime.gov.in.
know that. I didn't know 1930. So I'm feeling more empowered after this talk. So thank you so much.
No, but I should thank you for having a podcast which is dedicated to children, for doing so much when it comes to child safety. And I think it needs a lot to be dedicated to this effort for securing the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kids Talk Press now.